as you can imagine, it's a bit of a technical setup as well. So welcome if this is your first grow along. I'll run you through a little bit about how this works. So we are live on Instagram. I'm also filming on another camera because I then upload it on to YouTube, and then I can add chapters. I will then add that onto the official grow along kind of course thing on my app, and you can watch back at any time. And because I add chapters, it makes it really easy to whiz, you know, to the bit that you might need if you get stuck. And then I've got Ben behind the scenes in his throne, answering any questions, and he puts his hand up like a kid at school when he's got something to say. Yes.
Some people saying they haven't got any volume, some people saying they are. I have, so.
Right, so make sure that your volume on your phone is turned up. I can definitely hear myself. Yeah, so volume is fine. Now, hopefully you have watched the kind of beginning introduction. It was part of the free grow along. It would have had your shopping list, everything that I was doing. It would have explained about my compost mix, all that kind of thing. So all of my seed trays are filled, ready to go. We are doing the romantic collection first. I'm then going to have to come offline, do a few techie bits, and then go back on probably 15 minutes later. And then we will do the hot collection, because this is the first time I've done 2 collections for different colour schemes. Yes, Ben?
Cool. Can't remember.
Can everyone see my beautiful dahlia wall? I love it. I'm in a little bit of a building site at the minute, so I thought I'd make it look pretty. Yes?
Will it be recorded? I'll probably have to go back and watch.
Yeah.
Because I can't get sound.
Oh.
Someone has also said, if you don't have sound, try closing the Instagram app completely and reopening
Great tip.
it. It worked for me. Mrs. Steer 12.
Okay, so yes, this will be saved. You can watch it back.
Perfect volume.
You can watch it back at any time. So yeah, I think I'm just going to start, and hopefully you'll pick it up along the way. I am absolutely no expert. Everything I do, I just share with you. Some of the varieties in these collections I have never sown before, so I never know how successful they're going to be. I never know what the hell's going to happen next, but I think the whole point of these grow-alongs and why people love them is it's just showing that anybody can give it a go. You don't need any specialist equipment. You do definitely need a greenhouse or a cold frame for these seeds, because we're going to be looking after these all winter and they're going to be living outside. Yes, Ben?
I'd like to do a shout out to soon to be Mrs. Healy.
Oh. What's the handle's name?
Soon to be Mrs. Healy.
Oh, soon to be Mrs. Healy. Oh, I see what you mean. I thought it was a shout out for her.
No,
oh, I don't know what your first name is, but yes.
Shout me out, Ben.
Oh, so, maybe she wants a shout out from you.
I did. I was going to pass
oh, well, welcome. I'm so glad you're all here. I'm totally blown away as ever. This was a mental collection. A huge thank you to Melanie and Daryl at Bishy Barnaby's, because without them, hand packaging, hand printing, hand tying, I mean, it's mental. We sold out so quick. She had to keep going back and buying more stock. So without her, we wouldn't all be doing these beautiful collections. And we have had just, I think, nearly 5,000 people sign up online for the free grow along, which is mental. So yes, right, Ben, any last questions before we get going?
Can you tell me, we'll be putting these into bigger pots before winter?
Yes, great question. So all of these seedlings we will thin out, and that's the process of basically plucking the seedlings out and putting them in their own cell, and going up a size. I would imagine going up a size before winter. Some things like Larkspur, the germination is really sporadic. Germination can be anything from, in my experience, 4 weeks to 2 months. Therefore, if they take 2 months to wake up, we might not be potting them up like this side of Christmas, but we'll just see how we go. So yes, there will be an element of potting up, but I will talk about that in a minute. So let's get started, shall we? So I'm going to whiz through these in alphabetical order, just because that's how I've got them. So we are going to be starting with Achillea Ballerina, which is a white little flower. This is a perennial, which is great. If you don't know what a perennial is, it is a plant with a life cycle of more than 2 years. So it's going to be coming back, hopefully, for many years, although I do believe Achillea to be a short-lived perennial. So I don't necessarily think it's one that's going to last like forever. Yes, Ben.
Someone said I need to figure out how to download the app as I missed the pre-live shopping list.
Okay, yeah. Send me a link afterwards and I will, and in fact, I'll add it on my stories later. You'll be able to find it. Right, so in the introduction, I explained all the blurb that you will come across on a seed packet. Some people find it really overwhelming when you've never sown before to know what things mean. What does undercover mean? What does lightly cover mean? We're going to go through that now, but if you want a more detailed explanation, it's all on the course. It's there. I don't need to repeat that now. Right, and I also wanted to show you that you can sow in different containers. So these are my absolute favourite trays to be starting seedlings off because they come with a water tray and they come with a lid. They're great. But I wanted to show you that you don't need to have that. So I have got various other growing containers which I might be using. So for the Achillea, what does it say? So the Achillea tells us that it needs to be kept at a temperature of between 15 and 20 degrees. So this one is one that I definitely want to have a lid on. So I am going to sow that. In fact, hold that thought. I'm going to show you an example in case you haven't got a lid. So in a minute, Ben's going to go and grab me some cling film. Right, plant label. So I did show earlier on stories, but I'm going to make some labels out of milk cartons. I literally just cut up some strips. It's as easy as that. So I'm just going to write my label. This is a really important thing to do because I promise you, you will forget what things are. I also forgot another thing because I've already done mine, but just to say, if you are filling up your trays now with your compost, in fact, I need to talk about that before we carry on. You need to make sure that your compost is pre-moistened. So if you have got a water sprayer or something like that to hand, once you've filled them, you want to make sure you pre-moisten them so that the compost is really moist. So that is important. And then in all of the cells as well, you want to make sure that the compost is firmed into the cell. You don't want to push it and put loads of pressure and cram it in. You just want to make sure that your pots and your cells are firm and that the compost fills the whole cell and that there's no gaps. So whatever you're growing in, make sure that you do that. And my mix of compost, I have added perlite to. Hold that for just 2 seconds, Ben. Let me finish the sentence. Now, when I autumn sowed last year, and lots of you did it with me, we had a terribly wet winter and spring. And I know that I suffered a lot with something called damping off, which is where your seedlings basically just die because the compost is too wet, the stems get really weak, and it was a bit of a disaster. So for this year, I wanted to try and have a more free draining compost mix. So I have decided to add perlite. You can add horticultural grit. I did bring some actually, not that I need to show you necessarily, but having free draining soil is really important. And I also wanted to talk about vermiculite. So there are 2 different products within the gardening world that you might have heard of, vermiculite and perlite. Both, I believe, are mined from volcanic rock of some description, but they do have very different properties, really. So I have pre-soaked some in a little pot of water to kind of show you what I mean. So the problem for me last year was that there was too much moisture in my mix. So it was holding on to too much moisture and I wanted to stop that. So perlite is like a grainy, it almost feels like polystyrene actually. So when you squeeze it, really not much water comes out. It just is quite grainy, it's quite lightweight, it almost feels a bit fluffy. So that really lightens the compost, helps with the drainage, but does keep some moisture in there. However, vermiculite is more the consistency like, I'm trying to think of a way of describing it to you, like sponge flakes. So if I squeeze that, water is dripping out. So if you are adding vermiculite into your compost mix, that's going to hold water in there so the cells and the compost stay quite damp, which is what I don't want to be doing. However, for covering my seeds, I am using vermiculite as a covering. So I just thought I would add that. I'm just going to wipe my fingers on the tablecloth.
Right, how often do you water them in the greenhouse?
I mean, the temperatures aren't that hot here in Sussex. You just want to make sure they stay moist but don't dry out. So we want moist but not drying out. Yes, Ben.
Cool. Where do you get your trays from?
These are Amazon. I'll link them after the live. They're brilliant.
Cool.
Right, so Achillea. Yes, Ben?
Is horticultural sound the same?
Horticultural grit. It's basically like gravel. So it doesn't hold on to any moisture at all, but it does help the soil to drain. So, yes.
I think somebody's asked what is damping off. I think you can get damping off if you put the lids on after germination, I think.
Yeah. Airflow is everything, and that's really important. So the lids are used to get the seeds to germinate, and then for me, I use them at night to stop the slugs eating my seedlings. Yes, Ben.
Sorry, you were talking for too long earlier.
Yeah.
Sorry. How much perlite do you mix in? What is the ratio used? Someone said 25%.
Yeah, I mean, some people say 20%. You don't have to be too fussy about it. I kind of just liked the way it looked. But actually, believe it or not, you can use perlite as a growing medium in itself without any compost. I mean, look in my statue garden, I've got plants growing just in pure gravel. So don't stress if you put too much. It really doesn't matter.
Someone was just saying, sorry, she was late on. She was trying to secure her zippy.
Oh.
Elaine is loving it.
Right, so Achillea Ballerina. These seeds are tiny. They've got to be kept at 15 to 20 degrees. We're going to be covering them lightly, and I'm going to be sowing in a 9cm, and then I'm going to cling film it to give it a lid. Yes, Ben.
Can I use 10mm gravel instead of horticultural grit?
10mm? How big's 10mm? Well, I think that's a bit chunky. Big. It might be a bit chunky.
Smash them up with some stone with hammer.
I think that might be a bit chunky, but you could always try if that's what you've got. Right, so these are tiny. If you're doing it in a cell tray, what I would say that you should do is kind of get a little pinch of the seeds, they're teeny tiny, and sprinkle on the surface of each cell. Yes, Ben?
Can we grow these indoors as I don't have a greenhouse?
You can get them to germinate indoors, but all of these hardy annuals have to be in outside temperatures. So whether you make a kind of greenhouse out of like a storage box or something like that, they have to be outside. Yes, Ben?
Do they need a lid on it if it's in a glass greenhouse?
So the lid is really to help the germination. You don't have to have the lid on for very long. But, I mean, before I had seed trays, I used to do all my seed sowing without lids. So, right, I'm just going to sprinkle these on the surface while hopefully you are sprinkling them in your cell tray. Yes, Ben?
Do I need the plastic on my greenhouse?
I would, because we've got a lot of heavy rain here, but you will have seen in my garden that I've not had the plastic on and I've just used it as a shelving unit. But for me, now is the time to definitely put the lid.
I mean, we had so much rain.
Yeah, it's just so much rain, your seeds will wash away. So I've just sprinkled that on the surface, and then it says cover very lightly. So vermiculite over the top, and I'm covering lightly. So vermiculite is great as a covering. Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah. And I will talk more about vermiculite and autumn sowing at another time when we get to the potting on stage.
You need this cling film.
Yes, I will need that cling film, please. Don't forget to put your label in. Don't forget to pre-moisten your compost. And also, no question is too silly. It always makes me so sad when people message me and they're like, oh God, I know this is a really dumb question, but seriously, no question is dumb. Ask away. Yes, Ben?
Do we use all the seeds?
No. Well, no. This has got loads and loads and loads of seeds, but really good question. No, just get a pinch and sprinkle it over your cell. Ben, could you pass me one of the green trays that's down there, please? So as you will see, the seeds are tiny. You're going to have tons of germination. Just pass me the whole wedge. I don't only need one. Just let me just answer this. So when you've got loads of teeny tiny seedlings come through in here, you need to make a decision. I don't know how big your gardens are or how many of the seedlings you want. So what some people choose to do is thin them out so that they've got 12 plants growing in there, and they are happy with that. That's a decent amount of plants for your garden. If, however, you want tons of plants, maybe you want to give some away, then these trays are great. You get them from Homebase. They're available in 2 different sizes, and you can pluck out your seedlings and move them into a tray like this. So you could have 24 seedlings. So that is a decision that you have to make. So get it labelled, get it covered. That's seed number 1 done. Yes, Ben?
Is it worth using a heat pad to help with germination?
No, don't need a heat pad at the moment. 15 to 20 degrees is about the temperatures we've got now. Yes, Ben?
How long does Larkspur need to be out of the fridge before sowing?
You can do it straight from the fridge or the freezer. We're moving on to Alyssum next. Alyssum Royal Carpet.
The
Yes, Ben?
Larkspur seeds I bought don't mention the fridge.
Yeah, some packets don't, but they definitely need it.
Somebody said too late, but I think that might be too late after what.
Right, okay.
How do you fit them out?
We'll get to that. If you've never done it before, don't worry. There'll be a full.
Get to that, Zoe.
Yeah, don't worry.
Don't panic.
Right. So these are teeny tiny. Just trying to see if it says that they need covering or not. It doesn't. Surface sow. So sometimes a seed packet won't tell you, does it need covering? Does it need to be millimetre deep? If it doesn't say, it just means surface sow. So Alyssum, now I kind of want loads of these because I think they're amazing. And I believe these are perennial as well, although I don't know if they're short-lived perennial or what really. Again, I would do a kind of a sprinkling. And I'm going to use a good old stalk butter tub. Don't forget to write your label. Yes, Ben?
My Canterbury bells, forget-me-nots, have all germinated. I put them in 9cm pots.
Yeah.
Do I leave them in pots? When do I plant out?
They can be planted out any time from now.
It doesn't have any vermiculite.
Yeah, just use compost.
Grit, but she does have horticultural sand.
Sand can make it heavier because it soaks up all the water. I should have said that. If you haven't got vermiculite, you haven't got perlite, don't worry. Just use compost. And when I'm covering with vermiculite, you just cover with compost. You absolutely don't have to have it. It's just what I've got for today. Don't forget that latest plant label, Alyssum. Yes, Ben?
I've had loads of Larkspur germinate without use of the fridge.
Amazing. That's really good. And naturally, sometimes they do in the garden as well.
What seeds are you using and where are they from?
So they are from my seed collection, which was available in August. Bishy Barnaby's Cottage Garden is my supplier, and she might have the odd variety left, but I'll add a list of the varieties. Right, my Alyssum label is going in, and that one doesn't have to be at a set temperature, so I'm not going to stress too much about covering that one. Blah, 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 blah. Done. That one done. Yes, Ben?
I have put my seed trays in the fridge before when I didn't know they needed cold, and so does normal.
Well, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Soily steak.
Yeah, whatever.
If you want.
Right, we are moving on to Snapdragons now, Antirrhinum. Now, these seeds are teeny tiny, and there's only 25 in here. Now, I was desperate for this variety in this collection, but the price was really expensive. So in order to be able to include it and keep the price down, I chose to go for less seeds. For anyone who's grown Snapdragons before, germination is normally very good. So you can try and get a couple of seeds per cell, but if you have to just oversow them and then pluck them out, it doesn't matter. Yes, Ben?
Do I need special seedling
compost? No, just peat-free compost is fine.
Unused seeds from the pack, can they be used next year?
Yes. Right, a little confession right now, and I forgot I did this. I've already sown my Snapdragons in a different container that is in my greenhouse. So I'm just going to pretend that I'm doing mine. So sprinkle them onto your hand. Don't forget your label. And then you will see how absolutely microscopic they are. So you can try and put a couple per cell, but if you can't quite grab them because they're so tiny, just go for a few cells and you can thin them out at a later date. And the amazing thing about Snapdragons is next year, when our seedlings are a decent height, we're going to snip the tops of them off, and then you can root the tops, and then you have extra Snapdragon plants for free. So even though there's 25 seeds in here, if we got 25 to germinate, we would then be doubling our stock by doing the cutting, and then we'll end up with 50, which is amazing. So yeah, I'm just pretending that I'm doing these. So sowing these, do not cover, and a temperature of 18 to 20. So they will need a lid. So yeah, that's my imaginary Snapdragons done. Don't forget to write your label. Yes.
Is it too late to germinate stock and honesty?
Honesty, I've done a late sowing. which are just germinating now because my first batch were awful. Stocks, no, I think you can do stocks now. Yes, Ben.
What was that last one you did before?
Snapdragons.
Before that?
Alyssum
Alyssum. Do
Royal.
we need to cover the Alyssum?
No, it says
Did
not.
the Alyssum need vermiculite?
No, it says not. It says not covering. No covering on that one.
I haven't got Snapdragons in my set.
Have you got something different? Oh, because they're called anti-rhinum. Anti-rhinum sweet duet apple blossom. Sorry, my fault for not saying that. Snapdragons are anti-rhinum.
Did we not get Snapdragons in? Come on.
Sorry.
Apple blossom on the package.
Yeah, apple blossom.
Jodie.
Sorry. Ben, you should know that. You've done enough of these.
Absolutely not.
Right, next up.
Do we need to cover the Snapdragons?
No covering. Right, next up, we are going to be doing corncockles.
Is there another special name for that people need to
know?
No,
just corncockle. So Corncockle Bianca. These are amazing. I grew them for the first time last year and I am so excited to be growing them again.
Seems to be Mrs. Healy is loving this.
Oh, good. I am pleased. Right, directly. Oh, these can even be sown directly. Now, what that means with direct sowing is that you actually can sow them directly in your ground. However, for me, with having to lift up dahlias, move plants, my beds get disturbed. So there is no point in me direct sowing anything really.
Carol's loving it. Right,
so these are a little bit easier to manage. Now I want loads of corncockles, so I'm going to go for this tray. Remember, pre-moisten, write your label.
Bridget's loving me.
Bridget's loving you?
Life at Plot 3's loving me.
Right, okay, so sow the seeds directly, we'll grow them close together. Oh yeah, we know about that. Sow into modules, unheated, germination. Okay, so that says nothing about covering. So I'm just going to pop a few seeds in each cell, so they don't need covering.
I'm so helpful.
You are very helpful. I wouldn't be able to do it without you, would I?
How deep for these?
Surface and no covering. So far we haven't got to any that have told us to do it deep.
Stephanie, this is making her weekend.
Oh, I just can't believe. What was I thinking, Sam, that I'm going to do 2 in a row? It's a bit mental, isn't it?
But I'm getting a lot of love, so another session of love would be great.
Right, so that needs.
Hold up, Sophie. I can't keep up.
Oh, sorry.
Slow down.
We'll have a little break.
May I have a little chat? Someone said we need to do a podcast.
We do.
We do, but
once Ben is going to be my podcast manager, I would love to do a podcast, but I just
podcast manager. Am I allowed in the podcast?
Yeah, it would be both of us, but you just have to.
Be behind the camera again.
No, we would both be on camera.
I'm allowed to do that.
I'd want to get us a proper mic, but you would just have to upload it.
Yeah, I've got quite a lot on.
So have I, darling.
Yeah, busy.
Basically, there is so much going on behind the scenes. I can't wait to announce something.
Would you be able to go over the corncockles quickly, please?
Oh yeah, sure. Right, so corncockles, surface sow. They're really easy to handle. Sprinkle a few in each cell. You don't need to cover them. And these ones are going to need... No, they're not going to necessarily need a lid because it doesn't say they need a particular temperature. The other thing to mention with some of these seeds is I always think the best thing to do is sow them and just forget about them. I know the temptation is to like go check in every day panicking, but sometimes you just got to leave it be. Yes, Ben?
Karen just wants to say that it's the first grow along and she's loving it.
Oh, I love it when people grow for the first time.
You are great. Can we rewatch this live? Where will we find it?
You will find it on the free grow along course, and it will be on Instagram anytime. But Instagram will upload this in really terrible quality.
I hope that covers you, Sarah Jane.
Yeah, hopefully you're fine with your corncockles as well.
It goes on your grid, right?
It goes on my grid, but Instagram will upload it in a terrible, blurry format. So that is why I have my grow along. And if this is the first thing you've ever grown from seed, if perhaps you're making changes to your garden, you might have heard of my Grow Club monthly membership. I have got nearly 500 members. I launched it. When did I launch it? June?
Sorry, I'm reading.
I launched it in June.
Maybe June.
I am totally blown away, and it gives you lots of monthly guidance and support on maintaining and planning and redesigning your garden. Lots of tips and tricks, all about beginner gardening. It's $5.99 a month. You can cancel at any time. If you think that you might love that, then sign up. And you get one app that's got all of that on, and then you get to be part of my amazing Grow Club community, which is on a second app where it's full of all lovely members, and we chat and share tips and share links and all chat to each other, and it's just the most amazing community. Yes, Ben?
Do I need a greenhouse or a potting shed?
You don't need a potting shed, but you will need a greenhouse or a cold frame or somewhere sheltered for these to be. Right, we're going to do cornflower next. I'm going to start writing my label.
Cornflower,
yes.
Lovely. I'm doing green recording to watch later. I don't know what that means.
Oh, I've never heard of that. That sounds good.
Oh, sorry, screen recording.
Oh, screen recording.
That'll be why. I've never heard of it.
Thought that was unusual.
Once you sow them, do you need watering?
So you should have pre-moistened your compost, and then really just keep an eye on it. It wants to be moist, not soggy, and not dry. So just keep it moist.
Are corncockles perennial?
No, they're annual. Right, next up is cornflower. Cornflowers are so easy to grow, and I'm actually going to do mine in a milk carton because I'm going to briefly talk to you about milk carton sowing. So if you have no greenhouse, you have no cold frame, this is an option for autumn and winter sowing. You can sow your seeds in this milk carton, seal it up with brown tape, which Ben's about to get me out of my cupboard because I forgot to bring the brown tape.
Okay, cool, yeah.
And they will happily stay in there until they need to be thinned out. Lots of people do this method. It's amazing. You can see I've just cut a milk bottle, added drainage holes, and I'm going to be sowing my cornflowers in here so that I can show you how easy it is. This is a great way of growing with kids in school, even though my class are lucky because they've got a greenhouse. But yeah, it's just a really good way of getting seeds going without having a greenhouse. So cornflowers are really easy to handle. What does it say about cover only very lightly? And cornflowers thrive in really rubbish old soil. Yes, Ben? I'm sprinkling these over. Right, so if it's got a temperature on the packet, then it needs a lid. So it was Achillea. I think that was the only one so far. Or did the Alyssum have a temperature? You can check afterwards. If it's got a temperature on there, it will need a lid. I can't see that right now. Right, so sprinkling your cornflowers on. I've done loads in there. And then I'm going to lightly cover with vermiculite. Yes, Benjamin?
Someone's just started following you recently. So many good tips. First time trying to grow my own plants. Fingers crossed.
This is amazing. This is why I think these grow-alongs are so good, because it just gives people the confidence to just give it a go.
And again, somebody else started following you 4 months ago. She started flower gardening at 50.
Oh, that's amazing.
You are totally my inspiration.
And I think, honestly, I think as an industry, it can seem quite, I think gardening can seem quite elite and a bit, sometimes it comes across a bit snobby. And I think lots of younger people seem overwhelmed and don't really know where to start and are a bit scared to ask for advice. And I think literally anyone can do it. We are like mentally busy with kids and life. I don't have a lot of time for gardening. It's just to chuck it in, and you're a good plant if you can live here without a lot of care. What's funny?
Comment I just read, but this one just says, have you added blood and bone to the soil? No,
that was just an experiment that I did a few weeks ago. Nothing added in this soil.
If we put a lid on them all, will that matter?
No.
This is my therapy after a bereavement.
Oh, and I think that's another thing about gardening. I feel like almost everyone I know who gardens has gone through some sort of trauma, and this was my way of healing after trauma. And I think so many people turn to gardening when they just don't know what to do with themselves. It's the best form of self-care, self-love. I'm just taping up my milk carton. And yeah, Ben will remember how miserable our life was when my world fell apart. And yeah, I've been addicted ever since, really. Right, I'm doing this really badly.
Amanda's sat in a little greenhouse with Picotee watching this after she has just repotted on her plants.
Amazing. Oh, excuse the noise.
Sophie, this is all right. Sophie is going to be saying yes, Ben, in her sleep.
Yeah, I just say it all the time. It's just
You do.
right.
Because
So
I've always got questions.
right, so your cornflowers sprinkled on, lightly covered, and they don't need a lid. So that's just going to go outside. So you could do all of your autumn sowing in these, but what you need to think is I've just sown about 20 seeds in there. So 20 cornflowers will not live in there until the spring. You still have to thin out, but you can thin out into like loads of milk cartons. But you see where I'm going? You'd end up with a garden full of lots of cartons, but these are fab. Yes, Ben.
Pody Park says, please can you just show how thickly you are sowing the seeds? How many dozens?
It doesn't matter. You can oversow. It really doesn't matter. And actually, sometimes I find that oversowing, they're better. And I know that sounds mental, but when you've got loads of them growing together, sometimes you just get better seedlings than if you've got one in a tray. So don't sow the whole lot, but do a decent sprinkling, and we can thin them out later. Right, I didn't need that
Will
one.
you show later on thinning out?
Thinning out, yes. I've already got a reel on how to thin out. Thinning out is easy. Thinning out is really easy. Right, next up is Lavatera. This, yes, Ben.
Somebody's just asking, saying that her daughter wears hearing aids, and
Oh.
if you do too, she thinks she has seen them. Apologies if this is really rude, but it's not rude at all.
I've got a story highlight all about my hearing aids. You can go on there and read all about it. My inbox is open anytime if your daughter wants to message me. There's so much stigma attached to hearing aids, and I will shout it from the rooftops about how much it's changed my life. So yeah, check out that story highlight. We're doing Lavatera next, and I'm going to do it in one of those trays. Yes, Ben.
Somebody is sewing with her daughter, and she just said, "Justice for Ben." I think they probably think I'm
Can you
strapped
pass
to this
me
chair with a ball and chain, which I am. Help, everybody! What do you want?
just one of those, please?
I
But
can't move too
can we
far,
just
my legs
appreciate that Ben is actually sat on a chair?
Yeah, I'm actually quite uncomfortable.
He is 5 weeks into a chiropractor, and we have turned a small bit of a corner. Let's just say that. I don't want to be jinxing anything. Right, Lavatera, 1,000,000%. This time last year, I grew it not knowing how much I would love it. This has been one of the best things I have grown in the garden this year, and it's still flowering now. So basically, I want millions of them. The seeds are really good size to handle. It says do 3 per pot. So what I would say is do 3 per cell. And it says that we're going to sow these at a depth of 2 millimeters. I don't really know how big 2 millimeters is exactly, but it's kind of like, Ben, would you say 2 millimeters is like the lead that pokes out of a pencil? It's like small, sure, isn't it?
Yeah. How big your lead is.
It's small, a small indentation. I'm literally just going to use a biro. And what does it say? So 3 seeds per pot. So I'm literally going to make 3 indentations per cell.
I'll come and say hi at the end.
Oh, what's that about?
Just wants me to come say hi.
Oh, you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hi, Sophie and Ben. I have forgotten how enjoyable your go-alongs are. I so needed this.
The other thing that's really exciting is our lives are coming back. So in the summer, they are. Have I not told you that? Oh, in the summer, there's no point doing lives because everyone's out in the garden enjoying their garden. But autumn is a great time for the lives to come back. They're going to be fortnightly. So fortnightly lives with, sometimes Ben will be there. Sometimes I'm going to have guests covering lots of different topics. And then, on the weeks that I'm not on Instagram live, I'm doing private lives for my Grow Club members where I'll answer all questions and give support and guidance all about gardening and all of that side of things, because otherwise my lives get taken up with questions. So yeah, that's really good. So 3 indentations, or if you're doing it in a pot, just make loads of random indentations.
I've got a couple of quick ones.
Yeah.
My seeds haven't arrived on time. Do we need to get the seeds in before September, or
a
certain time frame to get the sowing done?
I mean, really before it gets too cold, but any time in September. I mean, it probably even tells you might be able to get away with October. So yeah, no rush really.
Cool. Do we need to pop these outside as soon as they are sown, or do they need to stay inside until they have germinated?
It's actually a really good question. And in Sussex, we have had just horrible weather What I would say is have a look at the weather forecast in your area and have a look at what your evening temperatures are getting like, because I think I checked the other day and I said to Ben, we're getting down to 5 at night.
Yeah, it's only for a couple of days.
So I did think about keeping them on a windowsill, but I'm just going to put mine straight in the greenhouse.
I've got some more.
Right, these are quite good to handle, and I'm dropping one in each of my tiny 3mm holes. Yes, Ben, go for it. Oh, he's lost it. What, lost the line?
What is a cold frame?
Good question. They're often made of wood with polycarbonate panels. They're a bit more robust than a zippy greenhouse and ridiculously expensive.
Well, you put it on your stories earlier.
Yeah, I shared one on stories earlier, a home-based one that was about 70 quid. But in my opinion, they're a lot of money and you don't get a lot of shelf space, but they're not going to blow away and make noise like a zippy does.
Emma's just ordered her walk-in zippy. She is absolutely buzzing.
Oh my God. Honestly, guys, the one that I've got, the new one that I got was such a ridiculous bargain at 35 quid. But prior to that, my old one was £59.99, and I thought that was good value because I do live in it, don't I, babe?
Yeah, sure.
He's not even listening.
I'm trying to read.
Yeah, sure.
Sat here on a miserable wet Sunday afternoon, and this is better than watching TV.
Oh, yeah.
Someone said you're so funny. I'm assuming they're talking about me, not you.
Oh, thanks. He is. Try living with him. Oh, and our garden quiz will have to come back, babe.
Yep. Somebody's just joined the monthly club. How do I know when those lives take place? Thanks, loving this.
So if you are a member, Andrea, I am gonna, so the ones that I had tested, because they're private lives, I had to test out links and how I made it work. I'm gonna write down a schedule of exactly when the lives are and what the topic will be. And it's probably going to be relevant to what we're doing in the membership. So at the minute, we are talking all about autumn planning, how to plan your garden, how to dig up your plants, divide them, plan where they're going to go. It's a whole month of planning stuff. So the live will be relevant to that. Next month, we're going to do lots of bulb related stuff. The month after that, we are doing garden design. So yeah, they will all be themed. I will release what the topic's going to be so that you know well in advance the date and the time that it's going to be. Yes, Ben?
This one is from the Spice Ginger.
Yeah.
But she just says, guys, you all need to join us in the Grow Club.
Oh.
It's amazing and so helpful and worth every penny.
Oh, that's so kind. Thank you.
When do we put them out in the garden?
So these will not be until spring. Yeah.
Cool, great.
When the risk of frost has gone. Wait, Ben, I just need to say, if you've done your seeds in your holes, do your label, and then with your finger, just kind of like zhuzh them a bit because you've made a hole. So now they'll be covered. So a bit of a zhuzh up and they are good to go. And these definitely need a lid because it says 21 degrees. So that is going to need a lid because we need that a little bit warm. Yes.
Can I use my garage as a cold frame?
The problem is you need light. Seedlings need light. If they don't have light, they grow tall and tall and tall and reach and reach and reach for the light, and that will not give you a healthy plant. You can use a conservatory if it gets a really good amount of light. This conservatory would be pants for growing because it only gets sun in here now. No other time, so it would be rubbish. Nigella, next. Yes, Ben?
I'm a little low on multi-purpose compost, but I have some fine seed and cutting compost.
Yep.
Will that be okay?
Yep.
I actually prefer my zippies to my cold frames.
Yeah.
The one you shared today.
Yeah, zippies, you just get loads of space. I think they're fab. Right, Nigella, these are another one that you can actually do direct in your garden. So what you could do is we could sow some now, and then you actually could go and sprinkle some in the garden if you're not going to be digging up and disturbing your soil. Yes, Ben, I'm just going to write my sign.
Cleared out my greenhouse today.
Yeah.
And I'm ready for a bit of seed sowing. I didn't grow last autumn. So thanks for this inspiration.
Oh, that's amazing.
I have a garden shed with a sunny windowsill. Can I pop the seed trays on there?
Yep.
Or will it get too warm if not?
No, as long as it gets sun, that'll be fine to start them off. I will also add another thing is that I'm addicted to growing seeds, and I know this sounds mental, but like if none of these really work out or I only end up with a few seeds, I really don't care. For me, doing this with you guys now, this is like sowing seeds of hope for the dark, bleak, miserable winter. and I get such joy every single day when I make a cup of tea and go and check on my seeds. That might sound mad and a bit sad. Ben probably thinks that, but I love it.
Almost as sad as me just watching your stories about
this,
it.
well, yeah, this is just me prepping for winter, and trust me, nothing is better than putting on a winter coat, sitting with the sun in your face, surrounded by seedlings. It's just, sounds mad, but I love it. Right, we're doing Nigella next. Yes, Ben.
How do I join? I'm assuming that is the Grow Club.
I'll add the link. I will add the link on my stories later. But yeah, to be honest, I'm buzzing about it. It's amazing. Yes, Ben.
Do you include houseplants?
I am the worst person for houseplants.
Even the fake ones, not very good,
I mean, they need cleaning. No, I'm not your houseplant girly. That's for sure.
Yeah. When can we cut Buddleia? Whenever you like, cut it, dig it out, throw it in the bin. That's
We've got a Buddleia in a pot.
Yeah, and the other two we had, they're straight out.
Oh, Fred's back.
Back.
We do get a bit of what was I going to say? Oh, they can grow a bit like weeds. They just get big and huge. You can deadhead your Buddleia now, so remove your dead flower heads, but then I just leave it. Right, Nigella, I am going to do actually in a 9cm pot, and the seeds are tiny but okay to handle. Don't forget your label. Don't forget to pre-moisten your soil. Right, cover lightly. So I've actually already sown some of these, so I've just tipped the whole packet out in my hand. So I'm just going to sprinkle this all over the surface and then lightly cover with vermiculite. This is a ridiculous amount of Nigella. Yes, Ben?
I've got loads, so if you can be quick and answering these ones.
Oh, God, okay.
I like this one, though. Can we use clear storage boxes with lids as a greenhouse?
Yes, yes, yes.
Banging idea.
I've got a video of that, actually. And yeah, it works really well.
Maybe
so yeah,
a couple of little holes on the side.
The only thing you have to think is we are growing 10 varieties. Depending on how many seeds you want to end up with, it could be a lot to go in a box, but loads of people use that. Kind of just be a bit creative. Anything that's clear plastic, clear, you know, people use, I've seen people make a greenhouse out of milk bottles. Shower doors. I know someone that made a greenhouse and a cold frame out of an old fridge doors that they'd got for free. Have a look on Pinterest. You'll find a way that someone has grown with some sort of box. Yeah, just anything clear, really. Right, so my Nigella is covered, and...
Did you cover the Lavatera with vermiculite?
No, because the Lavatera we poked in about 2mm, and then I just zhuzhed it with my finger. Yes, Ben?
What about Larkspur? I'm not too sure what that is.
Oh, have I missed Lark? Oh, because I was doing it in alphabetical order. Right, save Larkspur, because that's in my pile that's just come out of the fridge.
Did you forget that because it was alphabetical order and you don't know your alphabet?
No, I do know my alphabet. But they were in my fridge pile, so we'll do them after.
When we put the lids on, do we have to have the vents open or closed?
Great question. Vents closed while we're waiting for them to germinate, and then lids open once you see green. But when I'm using it for slug protection at night, closed to stop the buggers getting in.
Okay, that answers quite a few there.
Right, Scabiosa we're going to do next, and then I'll go to the fridge ones, which are Orlaya and Larkspur.
Someone's got a really important question.
Oh, God, yeah.
What tea do you drink?
Tetley tea, yeah.
Tetley.
And I know that disgusts some people, but it's the only tea we like. We've tried PG Tips, we've tried Yorkshire.
Yeah, put a couple of sugars in it. It's all right, isn't it?
Well, you put sugar in anything. Right, Scabiosa Black Knight is next.
Can you put them in clear plastic storage boxes?
Yeah.
What's the best?
Now, you will see that I am just using a food storage container here, and I haven't put drainage holes in the bottom. This is something that I started doing in winter because I find these fit on my living room windowsill really well. So I fill them, put lids on them, and all the while you just want your seeds to germinate, you don't really have to worry about drainage holes because they will do their germination in here and then you thin them out. So these actually are really good.
What's that one?
We're doing Scabiosa Black Knight.
Okay, someone just asked you cover Nigella.
No.
Does a big seed mean a big plant?
Great question.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Tiny seeds can be massive plants.
Yeah. So
Right, scabious. This says 3 mm deep, so I'm just going to make some indentations in my compost.
Have we done cornflower?
Yeah.
Sorry, Purdy Park, we've done that one.
That's the one I did in my milk carton, and you do want to lightly cover that.
My garden is shady in the winter due to next door's trees. Can I use a grow light for a couple of hours a day?
That's tricky. What I always say for people in shady gardens is really observe every bit of your usable space, including out the front or out the side of your house. Because in fact, I had someone on the grow community the other day who decided to secure her zippy to the front of her house, which just gets the perfect amount of sun. So sometimes you just have to think outside the box and try and find that sunny spot. Right, these are really easy to handle. 3 mm holes, you're just going to drop one seed in each hole.
Getting a lot of love for Tetley tea over there.
Oh, it has to be
Have you
Tetley.
tried flavoured ones by Yorkshire tea? I mean, I don't know what they mean by that, but if you try, I mean, I've had.
I love a flavoured tea, and the brand Taylor's, they come in little pre-sealed packets, rhubarb and something. Oh my god, that's what I have every day at work.
Literally, it reminds me of like Lemsip.
Oh no, it's dreamy,
disgusting.
and they do a rose one as well.
Horrible.
At work, I always have fruit tea.
As the everyday tea bags came out.
Oh, I've not tried them.
#1 in tea survey. Ooh.
The thing is, we love a Tetley. I'm actually putting way more than that in the hole.
Can
So
the seeds be stored in a south-facing window?
Well, to germinate, yes, but they will need outside temperatures for the rest of the growing season. They need the cold to stunt their growth. Yes, Ben.
Lizzle 58. I'm learning so much from this. Thank you so much, guys.
Amazing. Right, scabious.
Love your lives, you're both
Scabious in. Now, those ones that are 3 mm deep, just use your finger again just to zhuzh the compost over the top, just to cover them. Yes, Ben.
Steph's fan, 49's got a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Where are you based?
We are West Sussex.
At home. Where did you learn this stuff?
Totally just self-taught, really. So, a bit of a sad story. Overnight, suddenly became estranged from my family. Decided after what did we used to do in our old gardens? A bit of hanging baskets, a bit of pots, a bit of dahlia growing.
Yeah.
I decided to chuck myself into gardening. We had a garden here with nothing. We had not one single penny to spend on the garden.
We had a lot of trees.
We had a lot of trees. So I bought some seeds and sowed a load of seeds, decided I was going to fill the garden. Then I started an Instagram page, discovered there was a whole community of other people growing. And then I guess I kind of saw plants in some people's gardens and thought, oh, that looks nice. I want to try growing that. And then it just went from there, really. So I've just kind of experimented a lot. So I experiment with like autumn sowing. I'll talk about Larkspur in a minute. But yeah, I just sow seeds all the time, basically. So totally self-taught. YouTube videos. I've got loads of amazing books. There's loads of other amazing accounts that you'll see things that people have grown. It's just, yeah, everyone just is so lovely and so amazing.
I have some seed trays without holes in. Are they okay?
So like I said, for getting seeds to germinate, we want the compost to be moist. We're not going to be using a hose or a watering can to water these. In fact, let's quickly talk about watering. So for me, I tend to just spray the compost with my water mister spray. Just to keep it moist. But once they grow, if you've got a drip tray like this, you can bottom water, which means you put the water in there, put your tray in there, and then it will soak up the water and keep it nice and moist. So that's how I water things in trays. So really, for the germinating of seeds, while we just want them to grow, as long as you're just misting, it's not going to be soggy. So you can get away with not having drainage holes. Yes, Ben. Sorry, I just had a hiccup thing.
Fine. Just going to reply. Britain's Blooms. Just turn the live off. Shut Instagram down and just reload it again. That
for sound. Right. Orlaya is next up. Did we have another question?
Late to the party. What's the dahlias behind you?
Oh, do you like them? I just picked lots of dahlias to make the wall look pretty.
Yeah, because I smashed.
Basically, Ben's smashing this place up, so I just needed something pretty in my life.
Sorry, everybody.
Right.
The seeds in this collection would be best for container gardens rather than the border.
So, I mean, anything can be grown in a container, but it's all about how many you have and how you support them. For example, scabious are lovely and tall. You get lots of flowers, but the actual plant is quite skinny and doesn't look the best. But when I'm container gardening, I just put the things like that at the back of the container garden. So it doesn't matter that the pot doesn't look bushy and full. I just get the impact of all the lovely wafty flowers coming at the back of the container garden. So everything can be grown in containers. It's just where you put them. Yes, Ben?
Why do we sow in autumn and in early spring?
Great question. So some of these can be sown in spring as well. But if you sow them in the autumn, they start to grow now. They grow a really strong root system. So you end up with a healthier, bigger plant that flowers earlier. If we wait till spring, they're going to be later. So that's why we do it. Right, we're going on to Orlaya next. Yes, Ben?
Can I leave all the seedlings in a frost-free greenhouse all winter?
Yes. And I spoke earlier on stories about a product called Frost Fleece. It's a really lightweight piece of material. It's white. You can get 10 meters of it on Amazon for about a tenner. Have a bit of that as a backup in your garage, in your shed. And on really, really, really cold frosty nights, I just lay it on top of my seedlings. And if we have a prolonged period of frost, like that one year where we had 10 days of sub-zero temperatures, I just left the frost fleece on for the whole 10 days. It's breathable and light can get through. Yes.
How are you displaying the dahlias behind you? They look great. P.S. Ben makes a great assistant.
They're just on chicken wire
that Ben had to put up.
that Ben had to put up for me, and I absolutely love
Last
it.
minute.
Right, now Orlaya. Some people have difficulty getting Orlaya to germinate, and how I found I got them to germinate last year was to make sure that my compost stayed really nice and moist. That seemed to help me. So the seeds have been in the fridge. We are surface sowing and covering lightly. Germination can be erratic. I would agree with that. So yeah, for me, and actually it was Chesney at Red Farm. Oh God, what's her handle? Red Farm Flowers. Red. Oh my God, I can't remember her handle. Anyway, she's an amazing flower farmer, and she told me that tip about keeping it moist. So I'm going to sow all these Orlaya.
Such an inspirational lady, and you made me buy a greenhouse this morning.
Oh God, sorry about that.
Someone said thanks for letting me join them. I'm not really too sure what that means, but you're welcome.
Oh,
whatever that means.
Right, so I am sowing all of these Orlaya because if they're going to be erratic, I just want to make sure I've got plenty. So I want loads of these. These were amazing.
If you have one plant in a cell tray, do they need potting on?
It all depends how quickly they grow. They will definitely need potting on before they go in the garden in the spring, but it all depends. So if you're growing in a cell tray like this, you can whip it out and you can see how the roots are doing. Once you get a lot of roots coming out the bottom of your cell, they're going to need potting up. And also, I can't predict what the weather's going to do in the next few weeks. When we did autumn sowing last year, we suddenly had a heat wave, loads of sun, loads of heat, everything grew enormous, and we all had massive plants. I don't know if that will happen. Yes, Ben?
Did Orlaya need to go in the fridge/freezer?
Orlaya fridge for a week, yes. So if you haven't done that, don't panic, put it in the fridge and sow next week. And this says lightly cover.
When do you pinch out your seedlings? You're covering that later?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends how quickly they grow. It all depends how quickly they grow. And I will share, what I usually do is share a reel on how to thin them out. But if you want detailed tutorials on the next step of this, then come and join the Grow Club membership, because you'll get full length tutorial. You'll get lovely pretty files explaining exactly what to do. So if all you need to do is see a picture of how to thin out, there'll be a reel for that. But if you would like more hand holding, you want more lessons, more tutorials, then come and join the Grow Club. Yes, Ben? How are we doing for time? Okay, nearly an hour. That's not bad, actually.
Do you also do a spring roll along? So
I do autumn, winter, spring, and biennial. So I do 4 collections a year. And that just means that I get maximum amount of flowers in my garden. and I managed to fill my garden for very little money. So I do a lot of seed sowing because I absolutely love it. Like I've said before, I don't even care if I don't end up with hundreds of plants. I absolutely just love this process. I find it so good for my mental health to have a focus in the winter, a bit of a mum escape, something to do, something to focus on. I buy millions of seeds, even though I don't even sow them all. It's just like a hobby in itself. Right, Larkspur. Larkspur is our last one in this collection. And then I will come offline, check the battery levels on everything, have a quick drink, and then we'll be going live to do the other collection, which is a different, slightly different colour scheme. Why am I looking on my watch for the... don't even know what I was doing. Larkspur. Yes, Ben.
Joined late. I'm a member. Can I watch again?
Yes, you can. You can watch. I'll get this uploaded on the course later, and it will be live. It will be on Instagram as well.
Hi guys, I'd love to join in, but I don't have any of these seeds. Am I too late?
You are too late to buy this collection because we sold out, but I will add a list of all of the seeds because you might be able to get some from Bishy Barnaby's cottage garden because she has got some varieties left, but we just didn't have enough to do any more complete collections. If not, you might be able to find them online.
Hi guys, first time watching and loving this. Thanks for the
Oh, amazing. Welcome. Right, Larkspur. If you followed me for a while, you will know that this is one of my absolute favourite annuals to grow. I am the rule breaker and I am the queen of experimenting. So what I decided to do a couple of years ago was sow these continually from September to February. So I do a monthly sowing of these so that I have tons for my garden next year. I actually had 100 plants the year before last and I had them everywhere. Yes, Ben?
I've always wondered this as well. Why did you put seeds in the fridge?
I'll talk about that in a second.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, I absolutely love these. Now, Larkspur in particular, although someone has told us that they've had success not doing it in the fridge, but typically Larkspur need a period of cold stratification to get the seed to germinate. So that's why we put them in the fridge or the freezer. I always put mine in the freezer, but the fridge is fine. So they need a cold period and then for it to be a little bit warmer, and that's when they germinate. Now, the germination rate of these is so sporadic, I can't even tell you. So I have sown before, like a tray like this, with multiple seeds in each cell, and I have had some pop up within 4 weeks, and I have others that take 3 months. That is no lie. So what I will say that when you are thinning out, so say you've got 10 that you're ready to pluck out and put somewhere else, don't do anything with the compost that you sowed them in, because the chances are 4 weeks later some more might pop up. Now, the rule book will tell you that Larkspur do not like having their roots disturbed. However, I have done this. This is going to be my 4th year of doing it in this way, and it always works for me. So as soon as you've got 2 leaves, we're going to pluck them and we're going to thin them. And as long as you do it quickly, they don't mind. So yeah, I'm going to be sowing this variety every month until the spring. Yes, Ben?
Sue couldn't wait to do her seeds. She did them earlier on today. Now she's watching to see what she's done wrong.
Oh, it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter if you do anything wrong.
She's loving this and Ben's in.
Oh, it doesn't matter if you do anything wrong. So yeah, the germination is just a bit odd with these, to be honest. So I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm going to do mine in...
What are you covering them with?
I'm using vermiculite, but you can just use compost.
What compost are you using?
B&Q's own Verve compost. So I usually use Silver Grow, but lots of people told me this was amazing. I thought I'd try it for myself. I have already done some sowing in it and it has been amazing. So Larkspur lightly cover. So I'm going to put my label in here and I'm going to quite heavily sow these because I do want lots. So
what a brilliant double act, and both so knowledgeable. I'm not too sure what she's referring to me about being knowledgeable. Budley a rip out. Thank you so much, Sophie. You are fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
Amazing passion for gardening.
But I mean, the thing is with gardening, and I think with anything, with any hobby that you're passionate about, you're like a sponge and you just soak it up and you learn stuff all the time. And actually, you just never stop learning when you're a gardener because you're constantly experimenting, trying, seeing what works, trying new things. It's just amazing. Right, so these are quite good to handle, but I'm gonna do just a sprinkle over my whole cell. Yes, Ben.
Right.
Sorry.
Oh.
If you're doing these in a cell tray, I would say just do a little sprinkling in each cell, because like I said, we're gonna thin them out.
God. There's so many questions you need to answer a lot quicker.
And the annoying thing is that the questions disappear, which we hate about that feature of Instagram.
I've just finished showing chopping it down Chichester. Not too far.
Oh, not too far from us.
How do you know when to zip up the greenhouse?
I would be zipping it up at night now because warmth is helpful for the seedlings. Always, always, always open it in the day, every single day, even in the winter, because airflow is key to healthy plants.
Oh, I'm back. Well, this isn't actually a gardening question. This one says, what's the tattoo on your arm?
It's a red rose. My boys bought me a beautiful red rose that I've got in the garden, and I loved it so much that I had it tattooed, but I need to have it finished because I didn't have a leaf put on it, and now I really regret it, but I don't know where to have it. So if anyone's a tattoo artist, help me with a design.
Yeah, and in West Sussex, give a shout.
Yeah, because I would like it finished.
Could you quickly just recap on the varieties you need to put lids on, please? You're both.
Right, we are done with all of these now.
Which Larkspur? There are two. Are there two Larkspurs?
I imagine if you maybe have bought both collections, which I didn't actually think anyone would do, but yes, if you bought two collections, there will be two Larkspurs. I've done purple picotee.
Does that mean Lynn's perhaps got all of those out and just?
She might have done. Right, so the ones that definitely need a lid are the ones where it's got a temperature on the packet. So Achillea Ballerina, Antirrhinum or Snapdragon. I didn't do that on mine, did I? I can't remember. Oh no, I didn't have those seeds because I'd already sown them. That one hasn't got a temperature. That one hasn't got a temperature.
So keep watching tomorrow.
Lavatera needs a lid.
Okay, so I do this in a minute.
Yeah, because then we're done. Scabiosa, see that says temperatures of 15 to 18. I don't necessarily think that needs a lid, but you could. I haven't, have I? I know mine will be fine. So that is the only ones for the lids, really. I mean, you can put a lid on everything. And the most key thing with this is to keep an eye every day, just have a look at what the compost looks like. So you want it to be moist. You do not want the compost to dry out. So putting a lid on can help to keep the humidity and everything perfect. But then what you don't want is a sunny day and imagine your seed tray with a lid on, think how hot that would get. So you have to be mindful of that. Even if it's one that needs a lid on, just be really careful with the weather, because I don't know what your weather's like. It's cold and horrible here, but it might not be where you are. So you need to be checking these every day. And if you follow me, you will see me checking mine every day. So that is it. Any final questions before we come off and go back on? Oh, sorry, loads.
Lots of people, I think, have bought both collections, so we might be seeing them in a minute.
Oh wow,
what
okay.
Are you putting on top of the soil after planting?
Vermiculite.
Okay.
You don't. If you haven't got vermiculite, just use compost.
Ran out of compost. I'll be watching the finish of the job tomorrow. Loving the double act. I think we've been likened to the famous double act of.
Oh God, who? Laurel and Hardy.
The Chuckle Brothers.
Chuckle Brothers. Yeah, it's been about right after today, I think.
Bought both collections.
Oh my God.
I still can't decide which collection. Haven't just joined being here all the time. Would you put lids on everything at night? Do you put your hand up for every question to asking?
Yeah, he does.
I've actually got a fair bit of that now. Thanks, Ben. That's okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Great idea. Sophie, where's your top from?
I will link it for you later. It was Amazon.
I bought both.
Oh my God, I genuinely can't believe people bought both. Now, the only problematic thing with that is there are some duplicates, which I assume you know because you would have looked at the list.
Can they be outside for a week before the zippy greenhouse comes?
Yes, but put them somewhere sheltered, because if we get really heavy rain, like we have literally had for a whole week, they'll just flood and the seeds will wash away. So if you haven't got a zip and you've got nowhere to put them, I would say keep them indoors on a windowsill as opposed to putting them out if there's a risk of them getting flooded. Yeah, personally, that's what I would do. So mine are going to go in my greenhouse, and yeah, I'm not going to put lids on, but I'm going to check mine every day. Any other questions, Ben? Oh, and remember, if you've just sown your larkspur, go and put them straight back in the fridge, because then we can sow them again next month.
Somebody did get some duplicates, but Mel changed them out.
Oh, okay.
I bought both collections. I bought both collections.
I was going to say, I just didn't even think.
Where did you buy your Zippy Greenhouse from?
I've linked it on Amazon.
Good. Okay. Great watching you both. Thank you. I bought the romantic set, the ones I was missing from the other set.
Oh, great. Yeah, I know lots of people did that. I kind of thought that I shared the lists enough that people knew what was in each one. But I mean, duplicates doesn't matter. It just means you can have both lots of plants in both areas, and you'll have plenty.
And I think I have similar weather. Can I follow along?
Yes, you can. I will add the list of seeds and you can buy them. So my zone is 9A. I know that a lot of people in America talk about their growing zones. It's not really something we do in the UK, but I am 9A. Yes, Mr. Feather Duster Man. That is a disgusting feather duster.
Elaine is, she's just off to get a glass of wine and she'll be back to watch the next one.
Oh.
Yes, Ben. Yes, Ben.
I think we need to do a massive shout out to our children that aren't actually watching this. We are so blessed to have 3 boys that are very much enjoying an hour of, well, actually 2 of them have just got back from being out with their friends, but a bit of screen time.
Yeah, I've got to go and check.
So we just have to top them up with a few snacks and then we'll be back.
Should I move my Zippy into a shadier light in the winter?
No. Your Zippy, your cold frame, whatever you're using needs to be in the sunniest spot.
Boxes.
Or plastic boxes. You need sun and you need light. That's what your seedlings need. So that is so, so, so important. And think about a really frosty night that we might have. And then the next day, we need that sunshine and we need that warmth to help naturally thaw out the seedlings. So that is really important. Position is everything. A greenhouse will be absolutely pants if it's not in the right place. Think about out the front of your house. Think about the side of your house. Think about your balcony. Think about, yeah, anywhere that gets good sun. Yes, Ben.
Sim Sanctuary would just like to say thank you, Sophie. It's
Oh.
the second row along. She absolutely
Oh, she's one of my Grow Club members.
The most gorgeous family.
Oh.
That's me as well. That's from Karen.
Oh, thank you, Karen.
When is the next winter grow along?
So the winter one we'll probably do in Jan.
And also, I did
start in Jan.
Someone bought you a badge.
Oh, thank you.
In the garden with Mrs. D.
Oh, thank you, in the garden with Mrs. D. That's very kind of you. Yeah, it's disgusting. So that is a wrap, guys. That is the Romantic Collection sown. Some of these are completely new to me. I'm really excited, just beyond excited. I think a lot of people get really miserable about autumn and the change of weather and it getting dark. But already we are planning next year. And I promise you the winter will fly by, because by the time we're thinning out, potting on, then the cold comes, then it's nearly spring and it's just exciting. Yes, Ben.
I didn't know this was a thing, but someone said I bought the non-toxic to dog seeds from each collection as separate packets from Fishy Barnaby's.
No way! I didn't even know that was a thing.
Well, there you go. So and thank you to Adir.
Oh wow! Well, that's amazing. Well done.
And just lots of
fantastic. So thank you for being here. You can definitely watch this at another time. Unfortunately, all the comments on Instagram will disappear because that is just the nature of the beast.
I'm here.
Oh,
well, someone said they wanted me to say hi. So
oh yeah, he's definitely here.
Just leave that there for some more questions. Question time.
So yeah, that's it. That is a wrap. The Romantic Collection done. Now, actually, on the last collection, was it spring or winter where I made Ben do the thinning out? That was quite good, isn't it?
Yeah, this is nice. This.
Looks really nice, doesn't it?
Shame I've got to take it down afterwards.
I know. Yeah. So yeah, just thank you for being here. I can't believe we're here. I can't believe that we've now got the Grow Club membership. It's just mental, isn't it? So yeah, we're nearly 500 members over there now, which just totally blows me away. So like I said, if this is the start of your gardening and you're feeling inspired and you just want to learn more and more, then definitely think about signing up to the monthly membership. because it is an amazing community. We have different topics every month, and you also get to be part of the community app where you get to chat and engage with other members, share pictures of your garden, get tips and tricks. It's just amazing. So, right, we are going to finish this, have a quick break, have a quick snack, sort the kids out. Should we say we'll be back on at past?
Are you guys feeling the love? What a fab go along. Yes, we are. Thank you very much.
Should we say come back on at past? Is that
Past, yeah.
okay? So 6:30, we will be back to do the hot collection. Although my table looks really messy now, and I'm not even going to bother clearing it up.
Here's Ben. Here he is.
Here he is. Right, so we'll be back at 6:30 to do the hot collection. So see you there.